What's up, you guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Real Housewives of Orange County. This is season 17, episode 9. So let's get into it so I can get all the way caught up with my videos. So before we get into the review, y'all, we gonna get a little spicy, just a little, and talk about this mess between Shannon and Gina that Gina caused and she couldn't finish. So on August the 3rd or August the 4th, Shannon and Vicky were on Watch What Happens Live. And Shannon had on this all black leather outfit. She had on this leather skirt that had lace lining underneath it. Well, I guess Gina had wore that outfit before with Megan King Edmonds and decided to take to Instagram and shade Shannon about wearing the same skirt as her. I know it's stupid, but it's Gina. What do you expect? So, like I said, Gina kicked it off, and she did it by going on the Instagram and stating her grievances under a picture of Shannon and Vicky in their outfit. And she said this: glad to see another happy customer shopping my LTK links. Check out my LTK to see what Shannon will be wearing next. Hashtag imitation is the greatest form of flattery. So then Shannon responded like, at Gina, I'm not going to take it anymore. No one noticed you were wearing the skirt on hashtag WWHL snooze emoji, including myself. But people noticed when I wore it. So hashtag 59, hashtag who wore it better, hashtag imitation, not imitation. So she went on. So Shannon was like, girl, I'm over you. So I'm really about to give you this work. So Shannon went to her Instagram and she posted pictures of Gina's outfits. Like, it was Gina's old intro card where she had that really bad botched blonde dye job and her hair was uneven. And Shannon says, hope you enjoyed my imitation of Gina on tonight's hashtag RHOC. Tune in at 8 p.m., 7 p.m. Central on at Bravo TV. And it's Shannon's outfit that she wore on the episode. She has another picture of where Shannon has the wig on and you can see Gina's tracks, Shannon's tracks. I said, dang, Shannon. So Gina didn't take too kindly to that. So she hopped over to Instagram and she took a screenshot of the picture and she said, I've definitely gone through hard times in my life. So great that you're always there to remind me of them. That's just the kind of person you are, at Shannon Bador. So then Shannon was on Twitter and she retweeted one of the Bravo pages. And she said, I didn't know bad extensions, bad hair, and bad wardrobe was hard times. Hashtag RHOC. I said, oh, Shannon. Shannon is eating Gina up. Shannon was eating Gina up. And Gina couldn't handle it. So then you got Taylor in the comments laughing. Because she underneath Shannon's post about Gina. So I guess Gina and Taylor aren't cool like that. But Gina decided to get on Instagram and post this long, obnoxious post where she says, this is me. This is me at my time that was dark. That was scary. The pain in my life at that time was real. And the way I looked was a reflection of that time. To anyone out there that is struggling to keep themselves and their children afloat and can't seem to find time for a blowout, don't feel bad about that. You're doing the best you can. Remember, there is light at the end of the darkness. You will get there and you will do. And remember, there will always be people that try to bring you back there to remind you of your worst times, your darkest times, and your darkest days. Keep it into perspective. Usually it's people who are in more pain than you. Try and empathize, but don't allow yourself to become someone's doormat. Reclaim these moments. Don't let anyone take them from you. I'm an effing warrior. I went through the worst of the worst and I shared my heartache and pain and navigated through it all with no light, no map, and came out on top. I look back at these photos and I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of how far I have come. I'm proud I have found happiness, that my children are thriving and my family is fully intact. Thank you so much to everyone who supports me and champions my success instead of reminding me of my painful past and missteps. I'm so thankful to be where I am today. And I wish nothing but the same for those struggling. Love you all. Girl, shut up! up. Y'all know Gina gets on my nerves. She gets on my nerves. And this is just adding to the list of why I can't take her. I can't. Because, girl, how do you start a fight with someone by shading them first? Like, there was no need for you to be like, imitation is the best form of flattery, to shade Shannon for wearing a basic leather skirt with lace like lining. There was no need for you to say that. And then when she comes back at your neck, all of a sudden it's like, you're reminding me of my worst days. And that's the type of person you are. No, the type of person you are, Gina, are you're stupid and petty. Like, there was no need for you to say that. And Shannon got you together, rightfully so, because there was definitely no need for you to to say that the lady was copying you. And you just couldn't take that she was hitting you in the throat. Like, girl, what? It's the same thing with Drew on Real Housewives of Atlanta with the whole Marlo situation. Marlo came at your neck because you came at her neck, but because you got hurt worse, even though you fired the first shot. Well, in the Marlo injury situation, Marlo really fired the first shot. But if we going back and forth, it is what it is. But because you got hurt, all of a sudden I'm a mom. I'm going through a stressful time. I'm going through a stressful period. Well, if you're going through a stressful period, don't be a bitch. Keep all that energy and that anger and that discomfort to yourself. And when you get on the other side, then come and talk to us and socialize with us. But if you're going to be nasty to someone, why would you expect them to take into consideration the trials and tribulations that you are facing in your personal life? Like, Gina, girl, STF you and you got what you got, and it is what it is. It is what it is. Let's move on to this review. All right, y'all. So the episode opens up where we see everybody, I guess, with their pets. We see Heather and her kids with their family dogs. We see Shannon throwing a birthday party for one of her golden retrievers. Then you see Emily and her kids giving her dogs a bath. And then we see Jen and her family, and it looks like they're fostering a pair of like baby kittens, or maybe like 3 or 4 kittens, and they were all like naming them and stuff. So the episode really officially like opens with Tamra and Eddie. So they're basically moving furniture, like office furniture, into their new office, because we know, I think they let us know like a couple of episodes ago that Tamra and Eddie have like a CBD kind of business. So she's excited because she getting tired of Eddie being at the house because he getting on her nerves. She's like, he don't got nothing to do, and I'm irritated with just looking at him all the time. So she's like, I'm happy that eventually he'll be coming here like he did at Cut Fitness. She then lets us know that her and Jen are co-hosting a party at Jen's house where it's like a lookalike party. So all the girls randomly picked, I guess, out of a hat or random names, and they are going to dress up as one another and, be goofy and stuff like that. And Tamra immediately starts throwing digs at Heather because we find out she'll be dressing up as Heather. And she's like, oh, I'm a princess. Oh, this is beneath me. And the crazy thing about it is like, look, Heather is snooty. Is a snooty booty, Miss Fancy Pants, snooty booty, fancy pants. But I don't think Heather be like, she may look down at them when it comes to certain traits, but I don't think she scoffs at their existence the way they like to play about Heather. My thing about it is I feel as though Tamra has internalized those things that she feels that Heather does to them or makes them feel. Because my thing is like, there's plenty of people who look down upon everybody. I've had people look down upon me. Do you think I give a shit? No, because I know who I am and I know who I'm me. Like, you looking down on me does not make me move. And it seems like it bothers Tamra because every chance she gets, she wants to make a slick comment about Heather. And the funny thing about it is, like, this whole entire season, Heather has virtually done nothing to Tamra. Like, the only thing she has said is like, hey, I don't really want to fight with Tamra because she get nasty and dirty. And that's true. Tamra goes down to the gutter. She a gutter snipe. Tamra will get real nasty and disrespectful with you. So it's like, that's all she said. She even believed you when I know for a fact Heather knew Tamra was lying to her when they were in Montana about making jokes about her. So it's just like, girl, get over yourself. So then we see this scene of Gina and Heather. It looked like they were at like a garden place. And they were looking at pumpkins. So I guess it's fall in the OC. And you see Heather and Gina like sit down at a table and they start talking, and Heather pretty much tells Gina like, well, I heard that like Shannon is like feeling a little concerned about your relationship, and they do a flashback scene to where you see um it was last episode where you see Tamra, Jen, and Heather after they went boxing talking, and Jen basically tells them that like she was like Shannon was asking about how like what like how we felt or what we thought about Gina's relationship with Travis, and then Gina confirms that like, yeah, Emily told me that Shannon has some concerns about my relationship, and they flash back to when I guess it was like 2 weeks ago where we had Shannon and Emily like going on a hike and they were talking, and Shannon basically said the same thing that Heather said in Montana, where it's like you can't be hung up on somebody else like your ex-husband and still want to continue this relationship with Travis, and I feel like you're gonna push him away. So Gina pretty much said in her confessional like it's okay. It pretty much, she was like, it's okay for people to be concerned and it's okay for people to like voice their concerns. But she was like, Shannon could do all of this concern and talk about my relationship, but the moment you speak about hers, it's all downhill from there. And they do another flashback where I think it was like in 2020, and Shannon blew up about the relationship she has with John, and that she was pissed because I think Gina pretty much said she was concerned back in like 2 or 3 years ago. So Gina was just like, I just stay away from that. And honestly, the funny thing is like they're trying to trip Heather up. They are trying to trip Heather up. And the reason why the girls are pressed about Heather is because Heather has the money and she's smart. Because Gina was like, well, didn't you say something? Pretty much trying to like goat Heather into saying something. And Heather was like, I really don't want to get into that. Gina was like, well, you said you had some concerns. And Heather's like, I don't want to get into that. And in her confessional, she said, there's a difference between talking about someone's relationship with a feeling of concern, and then there's the other side where it comes off that like you're trash talking them, and I don't want to be no parts of that. So next we have this scene with Jen meeting up with her, I think she said her college roommate that she met when she went to college in Oklahoma. So they're still like really good friends. And I guess the lady is in town, or maybe she lives in the OC, not totally sure. But they're walking along the boardwalk, and the friend is telling Jen how, like, the conversation I had with Ryan, like, he seems like a pretty decent guy. He's a babe, like, he's attractive. He seems like a decent dude. And when they do the flashback of the friend and Ryan talking, pretty much the friend is like, what is your intentions with my friend? Like, are you going to marry her? What do you want to do? And he's like, I'll marry her right now. Like, once the divorce is final, we good. Like, I'm ready to do what we do. And so the friend is like, well, do you want to get married? And like, why wouldn't you want to get married? Because he seems like a great dude. Like, he's great with your kids. You seem extremely happy. Do you think it's self-sabotage? And Jim was like, Ryan said he feels like it's self-sabotage, that I don't want to marry him or want to get married right now. And Jen is in her confessional talking about, well, right now we're in a wonderful place. Like, and she was like, I don't know if that means we're in a wonderful place because we're boyfriend and girlfriend, and Ryan still has somewhat like freedom to, like, if you want to back out at any time, it's whatever. Versus if you get married, especially the legal way, there's all these like rules. Like, some states, like in Virginia, you have to be separated for a year with no like separated for a year before you can really like move on from the relationship or get a divorce. So she's thinking about it in that aspect. She also says, Ryan's perspective is different because he's been divorced for 5 years. I'm still currently going through a divorce. And what we find out is that her family, who owns the company that her ex-husband Will works at, is pretty much trying to get rid of him because they are no longer married. The friend also lets us know that she's talked to Ryan longer than she ever talked to Will, which says a lot. It says a lot. But Jen is just like, I don't want the man to lose his job. And that's kind of weird to me because on one hand, I get them being like, well, if this is a family business, you're no longer family, you can leave. But on the other hand, I'm just kind of like, if he does good work, why would you let him go because he divorced, like, your niece or your daughter or your cousin or your sister? That doesn't make sense to me. So Jen talking about like the way they're trying to get divorced. It's like, I guess they're taking a longer time because she's trying to make sure he doesn't lose his job. I don't get that. I don't get that. And then they hug, and Jen says she's really happy. I don't know. I feel like maybe Jen is like leading us on a little bit, because I think a lot of us feel sorry for Jen, because it's like, girl, you dating the town whore. But then I think I don't know if I don't really feel that sorry for her, because I think she knows what she got. I mean, as long as you know what you got or who you with, then maybe not maybe, most of the times you can move accordingly. Her not wanting to marry him makes me feel like she knows what's up. Like, she probably feels as if like the moment we get married, this relationship is probably over. Because some men, like a good percentage of them, the moment they get married, they turn into a different person. They turn into a different person. They get controlling. They start to want to run out in them streets and cheat. And it's like something about getting married. It's like a switch in them that just flips. And maybe she knows that if she marries Ryan, that's what's going to happen. So she's fine with just being boyfriend and girlfriend. I also think she doesn't want to, like she said, she doesn't want another failed marriage. So it's like, if we stay boyfriend and girlfriend, it just means it's a failed relationship, which for a lot of people who feel like marriage is a big deal or give weight to marriage, are like, breaking up as boyfriend and girlfriend is not that deep as breaking up as husband and wife. So I get it. So we see everybody getting ready. We find out that Vicky's coming. She ends up showing up at Shannon's house. Girl, Shannon's daughters play in that lady's face all the time. The daughter comes down with like a dress, and she's like, oh, can I wear that? And she's like, it's an XL. And Shannon got so quiet. I was like, so does that mean Shannon's like in a 2X? I don't know. I was like, that was rude. Like, it came off very rude. We then see Tamra getting ready. Like I said, she dressing up as Heather. She telling the makeup artist to make her pale. Make her pale with very high cheekbones. I was like, y'all all are white and you look the same. This, like, and not saying like, you know how they be like all black people look the same. I'm just saying, like, nobody's darker than each other. Like, I don't get like how that was a dig, because I feel like Tamara and Heather are the same skin color. So we find out like who everybody is going to be. But before then, when Vicky gets to Shannon's house to get ready, one of the hairstylists asks her, like, girl, like, how's like your dating life? And we find out that, Vicky's with her new man, but she talks about how she got played for 7 years, and they show Brooke's old lying self in the other guy she was with, who now is, I wonder if that man is still living in her house in Mexico. I wonder if that man is still living in her house in Mexico and her beachfront property or something. So then Vicky tells us her 18 list, and the guy I guess she's with now fits. She's like, he has to be between the ages of 58 and 63, Christian, own his own home, independently wealthy, an entrepreneur, forward thinker, even though we know Vicky's not one, have a passport, love Mexico. That is something about that. Love to travel, be divorced, and not in the process of getting a divorce, but actual divorce. Have children, country western boy, love country music, compassionate, adore Vicky, make Vicky laugh, find Vicky funny, and have fun together. And a bonus is if he has a boat. And she said the man she with now has all of that. So Shannon got Gina, and I'm trying to, like, for Spicy Corner, we talked about it. I think Gina threw that dig out there after the way Shannon played in her face. Because I think Gina is still feeling salty about the way Shannon dressed up as her. And so Vicky is asking Shannon, like, who are you cool with? And she pretty much says Emily and Tamara. She not really cool with Gina. She said Gina and her ain't been cool because Gina been coming at her throat since last year. And that's why she dressing up as disheveled Gina. And then she was like, she thought her and Heather were cool, but not after everyone telling her everything. So everyone pulls up to Jen's house. So first to arrive is Heather. She got a money gun. She's Heather, but Tamra dressed as Heather. Then you have Jen dressed up as Taylor, and she has the cat from the meme with her. And we also find out that Taylor loves this restaurant called The Deck. So Jen went there and bought a hat and a t-shirt. I said that's commitment. Gina is Emily she put in hip pads because that lady do got some nice hips. You have Emily as Shannon, and then Heather as Jen, and then Taylor was Tamra, but her outfit wasn't that good. Like everybody else tried. You had Heather buying a what is it called? Baby, I don't know. I was about to say baby basket. I don't think that's stroller. Buying a stroller and filling it with stuffed animals because Jen likes to adopt. And in the beginning of the show, we saw her with baby kittens that they were probably, I won't say adopt, probably fostering. And then you have Jen with the cat and with the cat meme for Taylor. It was like Taylor didn't put no efforts into being Tamra, and Tamra wasn't impressed. So they start doing keg stands once Vicky get there because I don't think the rest of the girls knew she was coming. And Vicky didn't dress up as anybody. She just dressed up as herself. So they did a keg stand with Vicky, which it wasn't really a good one because they couldn't get her all the way up. They did one with Shannon. Shannon sucked. Like, she didn't know what to do. And then in the never before seen footage, Tamra did one too. So they're all having fun. Tamra is like mocking Heather by being Heather, like just being outlandish. So while half the girls are outside on the in the backyard getting ready to sit down and eat, you see Emily and Gina in the kitchen, and they're talking about Heather, and they're pretty much saying like, I talked to Tamra. Emily says, me and Tamra went out. And we talked about Shannon, and I told her that, like, Heather told me some stuff, and she confirmed that Heather told her some stuff. So then, what's her name? Emily asks Gina, like, has Heather told you stuff? And Gina's like, yeah. But then Emily gets really frustrated because she's like, I've opened up to Shannon about Shane and been very vulnerable with her, but she can't do that with us. She can't be open with us. And she was like, I don't think that's fair. I mean, I get what Emily is saying, but also if you don't think it's that fair, then don't speak to her about it. I wouldn't speak to her about it if I was you. So they all go outside and they sit down and they start playing games. It's like some like goofy sex game where you like, not really a sex game, but one of those outlandish games. They had Vicky show her favorite sexual position. You had what's her name, Jen called the like maybe Pizza Hut or some like pizza company and asked them to deliver a pizza with the guy with the biggest sausage. And then you had Taylor lick Emily's boob. So they were just doing a lot. So then next thing you know, Tamra gets it started by starting to ask everybody like, well, did Heather ask you about Shannon's relationship? Did Heather ask you about it? Like, she's asking people at the table. When she did that, Shannon had walked away from the table. So Tamara ends up asking Heather, and Heather was like, I didn't say nothing wrong about her relationship. I don't know why y'all trying to act like I'm just out here talking reckless about this woman's relationship with John. So when Shannon comes back, she hears them whispering about her, and she's like, Heather, I'm not doing this with you. Can we have a talk? So they go on the side of the group, like in one of the little lawn chairs, and they talk. And Heather pretty much tells Shannon, girl, you're not about to sit here and say I destroyed our relationship because I was talking bad about you when I didn't do that. I was like, I had concerns about your relationship, because then like they're going back and forth. And then Shannon was like, we have a normal relationship. I have a normal relationship with John, and he's very private. He is very private, and the relationship is very normal. And everyone's just kind of looking at Shannon like, really, girl? And then I was just happy that Heather told Shannon, like, girl, you're not about to blame me for this. Like, you're not, like, because everybody's talking about you. And she tells Shannon, she's like, everybody has made speculations about your relationship, saying that what you present is not true. And I'm not about to be the one to get taken down for this. And so while they're sitting at the table, everyone's talking about it. Emily lets it be known that Shannon and John got into a fight at Nobu, and he left her at the restaurant and went back home and didn't want to deal with her. So then Tamara's just whispering at the table, trying to get everybody against Heather or to drop all of this on Heather. And Heather tells Tamara, like, what you whispering about? Speak up. Speak up. So then Tamara was like, well, like, Heather, you've been telling everybody. And Heather's like, no, we all been talking about this. So then Emily's like, Heather, don't do that. Don't try to deflect and put it all on us. And Heather's like, Emily, shut up. Like, calm down. Like, all of us have been talking about it. So then, what's her name? Shannon gets upset and she's like, oh, I'm not doing this, Heather. You're not going to talk about this in front of me like this. So then Gina chimes in and she was like, well, I heard you've been talking about my relationship with Travis. And Shannon was like, because I was concerned. And so Gina flips it on Shannon. And this is about the only time I see it for Gina. Gina's like, well, then we're all talking from a place of concern then. So if you can speak about my relationship, I can speak about yours. So then Shannon gets really upset. Like, she was like, my relationship is normal. And then she starts yelling at Gina where she's like, you owe my man the biggest apology. And I'm like, what apology? Or is she talking about what happened that season with Braun when I can't remember what season that was. I know that was, it wasn't, so is this 17? It was probably 15 when Braun was on there where they were trying to accuse John of like having bad behavior because of how he was speaking about the other women's as it pertains to how they were treating Shannon. I think that's what she's talking about. So then Shannon gets really riled up and she's like, I'm going home. And then Vicky and Jen are sitting at the table and Vicky's just kind of like, you know, the older you get, the less you want to hear people gossip about your relationship. And then Vicky's like, I think I've also heard people say things that about your relationship. And Jen is like, yeah, it's been a lot. So they're all just sitting at the table. Heather gets upset and she sits down and she was like, y'all not about to sit here and try to pin it on me like I've been talking trash about this lady. She was like, y'all acting like I'm some Machiavellian schemer out here trying to like orchestrate and defile this lady's relationship because we all been talking. So while in the house, you see Emily, Shannon, and I think Tamara came in there, but then she ended up leaving because Shannon basically says, she's saying all of y'all are talking about me and talking about my relationship. And Tamara's like, Heather is lying. So she go back outside to confront Heather. And Tamara's like, so you're saying that I've been talking bad about our relationship when you've been the one pretty much speaking negatively? And Heather's like, y'all not about to sit here and try to pin all of this on me. You just not. And I'm not about to sit here and take it like I'm not pressed, nor am I afraid of any of y'all. So what's up? And I said, that's how a Capricorn is supposed to be. Stand your ground, girl. Stand your ground. So next thing you know, we have this scene where Emily is talking to Shannon in the hallway, like I think in the hallway in front of the like main door to the house. And she's like, Shannon, you have told me things about your relationship. And Shannon's like, no, I only spoke to you last year in 2020, like maybe once or twice. And Emily's like, no, Shannon, you talked to me about your relationship with John a few months ago when we were at some restaurant. And it was the fact that Shannon froze and then the wheels in her head started turning and she started to realize like, oh crap, I've been running my mouth too much. So in the confessional, Emily and Heather pretty much tell us what's up with Shannon's relationship. Emily was very hesitant at first, but then she was just like, I'm going to just say it. She was like, Shannon has told me that he has called her fat and unattractive. And that really made Emily emotional because she's the bigger girl in the group. So she probably knows how that feels. She was like, why would she ever, like, why would he say that to her? Then you have Heather pretty much saying like, one, her and Shannon and John have never slept over each other's houses because, you know, his son stays at the boating house. She pays for everything. I said, that's a red flag right there. On top of that, I think she said something about, I can't remember. No, she was like, they do have a lot of arguments. So I think, and then she was just like, I don't want to talk about it no more. So what it sounds like is like Shannon wants this public perception of what her relationship is, as well as I think Shannon just wants to be in a relationship that works. It's crazy how desperately she is holding on to this. And she kept saying this one statement where she was like, I have a normal relationship and we have arguments. I just have arguments that paralyze me. That is not normal. It is not normal to fight with your significant other to the point where y'all are arguing where you're paralyzed by what is happening or the exchange. That is toxic, ma'am. Very toxic. Let's be real, any relationship, whether it's romantic or platonic, there are disagreements, there are arguments, but they should never be arguments or disagreements that leave you paralyzed with uncomfortableness or fear. That is a unhealthy situation. And Shannon kept yelling and blurting out that statement like it was supposed to vindicate her or justify how normal her relationship was or is with John. But it's like, no, ma'am, it just makes it feel like, okay, you might be in a very unhealthy situation. Like this is not it, sis. This ain't it. So Shannon's like, okay, you won, y'all won, because after this, once John finds this out, because he's very private, we're over. I said, how private can he be if he got with somebody on this show that he has agreed to film and probably get a piece of a check? What are you talking about, Shannon? What are you talking about? So then Emily just gets upset. She's getting emotional and she walks back out of the group. And then because at this time, before she walked back outside to the group, Vicky comes up and Emily's like, we're her friends. Like, we just want to be there to support her and you're not letting us in. And then she said in her confessional, we'll probably be here longer than John. So why not let us help you? Why not let you know what's up? So then Emily goes back outside with the ladies and Heather's like, Emily, girl, why are you trying to throw me under the bus? Like, why? What was the need for that? And Emily's like, well, we all are the bad guys, Heather. And she's like, no, I am not a bad guy. I am not a bad guy. So then Jen is like, Emily, what's wrong? Because you seem really emotional. And Emily's like, I worked really hard on my relationship with Shannon and I thought we were at a place where we would be okay and I don't feel like we could be friends after that. And you got Heather looking at Emily like, girl, you're doing a lot. Like her face scrunched up so bad. Like, okay, sis, calm down. Y'all just became friends. Chill out. So Heather gets up and she goes inside to talk to Shannon. And inside the house now is Heather, Vicky, and Shannon and Tamara. And Tamara's like, well, do you believe Heather? And Shannon's like, I don't know. So Heather's like, are you okay? And Shannon's like, no, I'm not okay. And she was like, my relationship is normal, Heather. What about your relationship? And they flashed a screen about Heather Dubrow shuts down rumors of her husband, Terry Dubrow, cheating. And you could tell that Heather is very secure in her relationship because she didn't get angry. She didn't get nasty with Shannon. She just was like, girl, that wasn't even that deep. That right there that wasn't even real. So that's nothing to me. That's how you can tell somebody when someone is secure in their relationship versus someone that's not. And that's what Shannon and Heather have right now. Heather is secure with Terry. Like, she was like, them rumors weren't true. And they probably have an understanding. Shannon, on the other end, she is worried about whatever she got going on with John being dismantled. So I guess we know Vicky and Shannon came together. So like they're leaving. Shannon is like, she done. She telling the camera to stop following her. She then goes to the production tent in front of Jen's house and she yells that statement again. We have a healthy relationship. We just have arguments that paralyze me. So everyone's like, Shannon, calm down. Like, take a moment. Breathe, sis. And she's still upset. She was like, my relationship will be over once, like, because how am I going to go and tell my private boyfriend about this? And I'm like, how are you with somebody that is private, but you are on a reality show about your life? That doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. So then Heather pulls Emily to the side inside the house and she sit down with Emily and she was like, girl, what's your issue with me? Because you keep starting stuff with me and I don't like it. Because I need to understand what's good, what's tea. And so Heather tells her, like, you each time you've been, and they showed her the arguments at the conversation they had when they went to get pedicures when they were back from Montana and then when they were at Nobu. And Emily kind of owns it. She was like, yeah, you're right. And it's like, okay, why do you want an issue with Heather? Like, what did she do that has you so like upset? So then what's her name? Gina comes in and sits down and they start talking about it. And Emily's like, well, Heather, you did tell us. And she was like, nah, I did not tell y'all nothing, pretty much. And then what's her name? Gina's like, well, it just moved. Heather said something, then Emily said something, then Emily told me. But the truth of the matter is, the basis is everybody is concerned about their relationship and concerned about Shannon at this point. And Gina's like our concerns are valid, and if you want our help, just tell us you want, like, we can't help you if you don't tell us that you want help. And that's how the episode ends. But yeah, y'all, I feel bad for Shannon, because it's like she is holding on to this relationship when it feels like everybody can see the writing on the wall that this relationship has ran its course, and now it's time to break up and move on to other things. But it's like, I think she wants this relationship to work so bad, so desperately, because she doesn't want to be out there again. Like, a lot of people feel like when they get older, they just want that companion or that partner there, and I think that's what Shannon wants. But I would think she would have more resolve or more dignity after dealing with what she had with David. But that's just me. Yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic and hop down in them comments below. This is